Leave all the best stuff. Baseball and barbecue fans, this is a big one. You know, as baseball fans, it doesn't matter what you do for your job. It doesn't matter what your career is. When you're sitting in the stands or you're watching a game at home, everyone is a fan. We're all equal. And it does not matter. You could be a three Grammy Award winning entertainer, a person who has 14 Academy of Country Music Awards, 14 Country Music Association Awards. You could have 24 number one hits. You could also be an award winning writer, producer, and longtime Rolling Stone magazine contributing editor, an Emmy winning, an Emmy winning writer. It doesn't matter because we're all fans. Well, our guest tonight, we're very happy that they're joining us. I think you guys might know both of our guests, actually. One of them joined us on episode 300, and that's David Wild, and we're glad to have him back. And the other is someone David has been friends with for a very long time. We're going to find out if it's the guest, Brad Paisley, I gave it away, who introduced David to the Dodgers, or if David introduced Brad Paisley to the Dodgers. But either way, they are huge Dodger fans. They are still glowing. The euphoria has not worn off from their World Series championship, their second in a row. So, baseball and barbecue fans, without further ado, let me introduce our guests, Brad Paisley and David Wild. Welcome.
Hi guys, I'm so thrilled to finally join you guys, and this is it's an honor. This, a couple of my favorite subjects, and this will be really fun to do a deep dive into all things either mustard based or ketchup based and dry
Yeah,
rubbed, all kind of
absolutely. Okay. So, first of all, you know that we are Met fans. And, you
Yep.
know, the first thing that we thought about was you guys could help talk us out of our out of our funk. But
Okay.
I think but
I don't know if the I don't. I'm not sure that Tony Robbins would be the right guest at this point for you guys.
yeah, it was not easy. It was really not easy to be in it the whole season and then on the last day of the season to not even make that last wild card. That was
It's
that
yeah, it's epic. I was watching David and I both were I think we were texting back and forth from different parts of the country because we it was a that was an interesting weekend for the Dodgers because we had sort of locked everything up. The only question left was if we could possibly have home field. And that's why sweeping the Mariners the last weekend helped in retrospect was a big deal just because of it did ensure everything except home field for like either the Phillies or the World Series. And but watching from afar as the Mets, a couple of different collapses. The Mets thing, I just couldn't believe the thing that had to drive you guys crazy because I know how we are when it's really simple. It's like win one game. This was a case of win one game,
Yes.
and they are in it. It was like I thought for a minute. I was like, they've got this. I mean, everybody I think said, well, they've got this. All they got to do is win one of these. And the Reds, didn't they set it up for them? Basically,
They
they
basically did.
left that completely on the table for
They
them.
certainly did. And the Marlins always
And
gives us trouble.
what's really weird to me about it is I do love a lot of aspects. I really love Pete Alonso.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that's one of those old fashioned baseball dudes that belongs there, man. And
And
that was as heartbreaking for me watching them just squander him again.
hopefully he'll stay around for a couple more years. Brad, I want to know how's a kid in Pittsburgh who actually you grew up in West Virginia, but you're a Pirates fan. How did you change your allegiance to the Dodgers? Was that all David Wiles doing?
No.
It's all David. David's very persuasive if you've ever been around him. Um He's got that cobra like
Hypnotic
mesmerizing.
eyes.
Hmm. Now, so I got married to my wife, actress, in 2003, but we started dating in 2001.
Star of
Um,
911 Nashville on Wednesday nights on
There you
ABC.
go.
Thursday nights, David. See, he
Thursday
doesn't
night.
watch.
Sorry.
Um, but she was at the time, she had been in Father of the Bride and all those things, and she had lived in LA ever since she first got cast. You know, she after she finished, she actually went back and finished at Northwestern and moved to Santa Monica. And so that was our first house, was her old house that she had bought. And then our first purchase together as a couple, because in the beginning of our marriage, we had to spend more time in LA than in Nashville because she was on According to Jim on ABC,
Right. Yep.
Right.
Jim Belushi,
Hmm.
and so that was so we needed, like, she was out there for 22 episodes a year. That's 22 weeks of the year we were at least in California for. And so I started going to the Dodger games, and I remember singing. I remember as a new artist, one of the things they'll do, with 162 games for each of these teams, if you're a new singer in country music or any format, really, they're like, you get one of those odd off schedule sort of Wednesday game invites to sing the national anthem with your first single out. And I remember singing the anthem at a Dodger game in like 2000, and they gave me a jacket, and I got to stay and watch the game. And um, they weren't, it was okay as far as at that time, as far as who they were as a team. They certainly hadn't begun this run. And then, after that, it became this thing where it, once you have kids, we don't have a team in Nashville. And I didn't really grow up a big Pirates fan or anything. That's the game I went to 3 or 4 Pirates games as a kid. They were never that great. When I was young, they were great. When I was in the late 70s, I'm a toddler, and they're amazing, but I don't remember that. And
And you were the son.
since then,
Your dad was a Cleveland Indians fan, right?
he
Was it?
says that he completely misremembers. I don't remember that Cleveland Indians coming up, and he's like, "Well, I grew up an Indians fan." I'm like, "What?" Well, everything we had was yellow and black in in a baseball sense in the house.
All I know
But
is I think your dad. I once bought a Bob Feller baseball for his birthday, so I may have spent money completely wrong.
no, he loved that. And but to offset it, this is how little loyalty he had. I bought him a Bill Mazeroski signed baseball. So, like, he doesn't. I don't know if he knew who he was, but now he's a Dodger fan due to the fact that, I mean, we've gotten to know all these guys so well. And the so it was around, when we started, that those were the games I started to take my kids to when they were young. And I have some great pictures of their first baseball game. And we have these amazing people that have a suite that run Melissa's Produce, that are like family to us, and we've been going with them ever since the kids were small. And you know what? One of the really cool things, I think, is if you live in a town, which you guys in New York, obviously.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, we're on Long Island in New York. Yeah.
Yeah, if you live in a town, it's pretty hard to like if I had to move to New York full time, I think at some point it would whittle away at me. I can't imagine it, but it would whittle away at me, and I'd have to be like, well, okay, now I also root for that. You know what I mean? Like, it eventually. And when we bought our first house here, it was in the Palisades. That one is, we didn't own it anymore, but it burned down with everything else in that neighborhood.
Mhm.
And we've been through so much in this community, that eventually you get to be friends with people like Clayton Kershaw. Clayton had reached out to me to be part of charity stuff early on, and all he thinks about is charity and what they can do with him and his wife and with his celebrity and with his influence. And I have done 3 or 4 events for them, and they've done events for me, and our friendship runs deep now. I mean, I just think they're the greatest people I've ever known. And you get to know him, you get to know Justin Turner, you get to know, these people over the years. Dave Roberts has become a friend. Andrew Friedman's a friend. It's like, next thing you know, you're rooting for them on a level that's different
Mhm.
than the guys in the bar that
Well,
don't have their
you guys,
number to text them.
you guys may or may not know that this in recent history, there's a famous story about, besides before the whole national anthem phenomena, recent with Glasnow, there were actually the draft was happening in Nashville, and somehow Brad helped us get Glasnow, which ended up being very important and
Yes.
very
Yes.
good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
Tell
felt
us.
very good about it this year.
Yeah, Brad, tell us that story because I did read about that. And as a matter of fact, we reached out to, I don't know if you're familiar with Bill Chuck. He's like a baseball,
Yeah.
amazing how he comes up with these stats. But I told him we were having you on and I asked him to give us some, maybe he had some things that, people wouldn't know. And that was one of the things he mentioned, but we had read that. What was this meeting you facilitated at your house? With
So
glass now.
yeah, so what's fun is this. I was so glad this came out because in the middle of it, I have this bar on my farm in Tennessee. It's about 20 minutes from downtown, and when I say I have a bar, it's a bar, isn't it, David? It isn't just
It's
like,
it's the
how some
greatest.
people have that corner of their house where they hide the bottles.
No, this
No,
is
this is a bar.
a real bar, and that's really where we watched all the Dodger games where we started watching together many years ago. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the coolest bar. But it somehow became the center of baseball history. That
Well, so we 2 years ago they had the winter meetings in Nashville, which is I think they should have them there every year. They've never had more fun. I mean, it's the perfect destination musically. Barbecue, by the way,
Yeah.
all of that
And
you
they
can
should have
walk.
a team there. They should have a team there too.
That's coming, I think, and that will be where it starts to get difficult for me. But I'm hoping they're American League anyway. Um, but the yeah, I think so. When they were coming to town, I reached out to a good friend of mine is David Bassett, who does Dodger Talk in LA, and on AM 570 there. And David said, we're coming to Nashville, and I said, oh man, and I had met Doc and didn't know him well, but I knew him, and I just said, so I said, they should come down. They were having it at the Opryland Hotel. They should come down and have drinks at the bar when they need a break from the craziness of the winter meetings. And then if they want to do a deal, and I was joking, I said, if they want to do like a deal in a private place that's not scrutinized, where all the agents are hovering and the reporters, it's a secluded farm with a full blown Irish pub in it. And Andrew Friedman texted me back and said, that sounds amazing. We would love it. Can we do it on the Wednesday? We're all leaving on Thursday. We'll do it on the Wednesday of the winter meetings. I said, sure. Or something like that. It might have been the Tuesday, whatever the last day was. So that day, I also did I did the draft lottery for MLB Network. So I had to go up to the hotel in the afternoon and I pulled the names out and decided the order of the draft lottery on TV, which was a lot of fun to do that with. Like it was with Harold Reynolds and those guys. And so I'm just basically I'm totally a groupie of this world. I love everything about just what this sport is. And so then that night, Andrew's like, okay, he's like, well, maybe we'll hop in and just ride with you down to the farm when you're done with the draft lottery. And I said, okay, cool. And I said, well, I'll bring my Tahoe. My manager has a 6-seat Tahoe. We can get everybody down there. He said, well, we have like 25. And I'm like, well, then you know what? Find your own way. Figure it out. But I was like, I'll bring you down. So they were going to hop in with me until Dave Roberts put his foot in his mouth, without really putting his foot in his mouth. It wasn't really fair that that's how it's said. A reporter asked Dave that day, did you guys meet with Ohtani? And he said, yeah, yes, we did. And all hell broke loose because remember that they had the gag order. They were like, you can't discuss
Oh yeah.
this, or you could, and hold on one second. Yeah. So you guys see me all right? Am I still on?
Yeah.
Yes.
My phone did something weird. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So he says, he gets in. So they have an emergency meeting at the hotel. They can't drive down to the bar with me, and it's just amazing because they are like, they're this is now the biggest story in baseball, and they're about to head to my farm. So it's amazing in the sense that I'm getting ready at the farm for them to all drive down, but they're having an emergency behind closed doors meeting to determine whether or not they just messed up the Otani deal if they were going to get one. Like, is he now just going to go to Toronto
Yeah.
because
A
Dave
lot of
said
people
we
thought
met
he
with
would.
him? Right. So
Yeah.
they drive down to the bar and they have they walk through the door and they're holding. I hand them each a Pappy Van Winkle uh, glass and say, "I think you need this, right?" And so while they were there, Andrew came to me and said, "Ken," he said, "this is really a great vibe." And he got on the phone. He said, "Say hi to Eric Neander from the Rays." And I got on the phone with him and talked to him and then handed it back. And I said, "It's too bad you guys aren't down here, but you're with the wrong team." Well, then Andrew comes to me and said, "Are you serious? Can they come down?" And I said, "Absolutely." He's like, "Okay, I want to get the Tyler Glasnow deal done." And I'm like, "Let's do it." And the next thing you know, 11 o'clock at night, in walks the GM of the Rays, Eric, and his staff. Great people, by the way. They come walking in, and as they sat down at the bar, I turned around and I said, "Nice to meet you, Eric. The top shelf, all the expensive stuff here, we don't, that's the Tyler Glass now shelf. This deal's not done. You don't get any of that." And he's like, "Great. I'm just going to deal with you then. What do you think of so and so?" I'm like, "That would be a great trade. Let's do it." But what was neat was that night, you see them sitting, like I saw, Eric and Andrew just sitting and they were just talking, and I'd give them a drink, and then I'd jump in the conversation, and they would be like asking some music questions, and we'd talk about baseball. It's exactly like you think. In my mind's eye, it was always, do they sit at a bar with a napkin and go, "I'd like this guy," and you're like, "You know what? Yeah, you can have him if we get this and this," and it's like, "Okay, cool." It's kind of that simple at times.
Wow.
And the next thing you know, the deal was done within a couple of days. And I got a text from Andrew like 48 hours later, said, "Glass deal's done. Thank you. You get the assist." And it was just, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. How fun is that, right?
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And just to show you, like Brad saying that he's a groupie for the baseball, the thing
Mhm.
is, the nice thing and the
Yeah.
reason I've had such amazing access through our friend Sharon Hernandez and Joe and Clayton and all those people, I've had access because they are groupie fans of Brad, so that like I had like one of the high up executives at the Dodgers who's a friend of mine. I don't know if I should say his name, but he was there that night and he was like texting me going, "I can't believe I'm hanging at Brad Paisley's bar. It's the
Right.
coolest bar I've ever been to." And I thought, how cool. And
Yeah.
you know, so everyone is thrilled because they're literally, for me, the two things I loved were music and baseball, growing up.
Right.
It's really the best of everything.
Isn't it amazing? Baseball players want to be musicians. Musicians want to be baseball players, and I want to be both.
Yeah, of course.
We actually
I'd
had
love to
on.
be.
Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I'm not, I'm starting to wonder if I'm any good at music anymore, and I definitely am not good at baseball. So,
Oh,
I
you know
think you're
what? My sister is such a big fan. She goes, "Oh, you have Brad Paisley? Oh, she loves your music. So I'm sure you hear it all the time. But she's a very big fan. Her and her husband. She's been to a couple of your concerts, and she just thinks the world of you. So I just want to let her know
thank you.
that my sister Robin really big fan of yours.
I like Robin a lot.
Well, and now the national anthem this year, it's really interesting how I think it was sort of a very eclectic mix of musicians over the postseason. But Brad's moment, we were there. I was with him that night and got to experience that ATNing phenomena. And it was weird because I think only as the game, like Brad got great seats from the MLB right up front, and then gradually went to the MLB suite where Jack Black was and wanted to say hello to him or whatever. And then we went to another suite in the eighth inning thinking, "Oh, right, the game's almost over." But it was some point
Little
in
did
there,
we know.
when did you know that Brad, when did you realize the history of your anthem? Like the fact that it,
When they said it's now the second longest game in MLB history, I did the intentional talk with Kevin Millar and those guys that afternoon, and they brought up that I had sung at the 18 inning game in 2018, sung the anthem at that. And that also, and I was well aware, and I said, well, that and also last year with Freddie's Grand Slam walk-off, I had shown Stan Kasten that earlier, like in the day. I was like, look at this weird stat that there's only been 4 walk-offs in the history of the Dodgers, and I sung it the only 2 that I've really been around for in my time. And he's like, that is weird. And so we're sitting there, and even on MLB, they said, is there going to be another one? Can we expect another one tonight? And I'm like, no, tonight's going 9 for the first time.
No.
And then, yeah. And then at the 9th, when we tied it, or they tied it or whatever it was, and we start going through the innings, I just kept thinking, certainly not. And I think it was around the 14th or 15th inning when they said, this is now the second longest game in the history of the World Series. And here comes 17th inning. And my manager, Kendall, and David were both with me at the first 18 inning game too. And I'm looking at him going, there's no way, right? Because I was kind of proud of the baseball footnote stat of, like, if you were to look up who sang the anthem at the longest game in World Series history, it would have been me. I had no idea that it would become a story the next day, which the strangest part of it was, as I'm in the 18th inning, as Freddie walks it off, just like Muncy had done in 2018, and just like Freddie had done the year before, all anthems I sang, I thought, this is insane and impossible. Like, it's statistically impossible almost. And so then I get up the next morning, and my phone looked like, it looked like I had been announced as some sort of, I don't know what it was. Like, everybody I knew texted me saying, look at this story. And some statisticians had really done their job. And what I didn't realize was that the anthem I sang in 2017 was also extra innings. Like, I had forgotten that was the first time I learned that about myself. I didn't even remember that one. So it's like very, very strange, but really fun to be in some sort of definite, like, baseball stat that is, this one's not, I don't know how anybody could possibly even touch this stat, right?
It's sure obscure, that's for sure. It's safe, yeah,
I gotta
exactly.
be safe on this one.
Yeah, it's freaky. It is really freaky. I was actually wondering, because David had said that he was going to the game with you, and I was wondering if you guys had stayed for the whole thing. Obviously, here in New York,
yeah.
we fell asleep. I mean, that game ended at like 3 in the morning here. I mean, it was crazy. But you were there
well,
for.
here it was right before midnight when it ended, and my birthday was at midnight. So technically, East Coast, I had a win on my birthday. They won when it was my birthday. And the other weird thing was going home.
Birthday cake was served.
Yeah, they gave me birthday cake in the suite. And what's crazy is then when I was driving back to my house here in Cal, we have a place out here, and I got a flat tire on the way home. So I didn't get home till 2:30 in the morning.
Wow.
By the time I changed a tire and did it, it was the craziest night.
Wow.
But it was an amazing series. It's just, I couldn't even believe what we had seen, and I still can't believe the last 2 games. And this sport, I feel like it opened some eyes. This World Series opened some eyes to the absolute excitement of this sport.
Oh, definitely. This was one of the better World Series I've seen, in my lifetime. I remember 2016. I remember 86, obviously, and 1990, 1991 with the Twins and the Braves. But this one's right up there with those. This was just an exciting World Series. Brad, I wanted to ask you. I was doing some research, and I saw your interview with Alana Rizzo on I guess it was Mad Dog, one of the Mad Dog shows. And actually, we had Alonzo with us like last year or the year before. And you did you sang with Kevin Millar. How did that turn out?
I'm hoping that's been erased from the history archives. We did at the he came to the CMA Awards one year, and we did a duet in the dressing room of Mud on the Tires that I erased it from my phone, but I don't know. It exists on some hard drive somewhere.
It was on Intentional Talk. Also, you spoke about Clayton Kershaw when we had the author of the Last of His Kind, Clayton Kershaw and the Burden of Greatness, and I don't think we will see another pitcher like Clayton Kershaw again. Especially, he had a run there for a couple of years. He was really like Koufax like with the low
Yeah.
ERA and its complete games. We'll never see that again. Talk about Clayton
Mm-mm.
Kershaw, and I know he has a great foundation as well.
So Clayton is one of the best people I've ever met. When we got when we became really good friends, it had to do with charity, and he had reached out about me performing for his Kershaw's Challenge charity many years ago in the 20 teens, and I wasn't able to do it. And I had to write him back and say sorry. I'm booked that whole weekend of that. And then I realized, like, it was just like a year or so later that I remember realizing he must think I don't want to do it, which it wasn't true. I would have gladly done it as a fan. So I reached out to him out of the blue, and I'm glad I did this too, because we became friends because of this, really. And I said, "Hey, Clayton, this is Brad Paisley." I said, I got to say, I want you to know that I really couldn't do the charity, but I will anytime I can. And so please ask again and ask until I can do it. And he did. And the next thing you know, I was playing for his thing. He's done things with me for our charity. We have a charity in Nashville. It's a food charity named The Store that is something he and Ellen donate to, and he's raised awareness for it. He honored us one year here at his event in LA and told everybody about what the store is. And um, I just think he really it's an amazing thing that that's kind of what's most important to him. That and his family, like that their charity. His sister-in-law runs the charity, and his wife, her focus is on these kids in Africa and the things that they do locally as well. I mean, I can't tell you what great people they are. I can't even accurately describe them. And I just don't think there's ever but anybody who's ever been given this much talent in the sports world that's done this much good. And so yeah, so I mean, I would like as when he was in his prime, it was so much fun. And then as he became this icon who found a way with diminished stuff, it was so much fun to root for him as well. And David has said this, and I can accurately say this too. I think he's my favorite baseball player of all time and always will be. Like, I just think there's never been a competitor. Like, think about this. His fastball was averaging 88.9 miles an hour this year. And he was 11-2
Hmm.
and got his 3,000th strikeout
Yeah.
because he's smarter than any batter he faces.
Yep.
He just
Brad,
understands this sport.
will you and David be at his induction ceremony in Cooperstown? Because 5 years from
Yeah,
now, he's a
I'll be
shoo-in.
there. Oh
One
yeah,
of
yeah,
us
I'll
will
be
be
there. I
there, and I
mean,
will be
well,
watching on TV.
you'll be there, David. I'll bring you. David will be my date because although Kim may actually go to that, she
Well,
loves Clayton and Ellen enough to go to that. But oh yeah, I'm going. I don't
All right.
if I'm, it's a long way away, but that'll
Yeah.
be that'll be really neat. He
Well,
deserves it.
we would like to join you with that. So let's
Yeah.
let's
Come
plan that.
on, I got to go to a Mets game with you guys sometime.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We would love that.
I've
Yeah.
never been to City Field.
Oh,
Oh,
it's beautiful. It's
yes.
it's beautiful. So Brad, it's I guess it's bad form, and David, because you have your podcast with Phil Rosenthal, it's bad form to disagree with a guest, and I'm not really. This is tongue in cheek, but I heard you mention, you do those commercials, or you've done those commercials with Peyton Manning, and you talk about his comedic timing, and he might be one of the funniest athletes or that you know. Um, Bob Euchre may
Yeah,
have
man.
him topped.
Oh, for sure. You're right. I think you're right. Like
Bob Euchre, if you
Bob
see
Euchre.
his, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh,
His,
I know that. I must be in the front row. I mean, I must be. Yeah, that stuff. I mean, Bob Euchre. Absolutely, I totally agree. And Major League and everything he did. I mean, yes, I'm with you.
yeah.
Clayton, I would say in a football. One of the jokes that I did a roast with Peyton once, and I did a charity event with him, and we did this Q&A, and they said something like, "Talk about Clayton Kershaw." And I said, well, nobody, especially an icon of the sports of the football world, no football player has ever had a more successful post football career and made more of an impact on society than Peyton Manning, except maybe OJ Simpson. And I'm like, so congrats, Peyton.
Brad, is it true that you have a like a baseball field in your yard, like a wiffle ball field, or with scoreboards and things like that? Is that's
Not necessarily. No, I have a field,
okay?
um, but I don't have it. I mean, we've thrown bases down and done really some fun pickup games before, but no, I don't keep it groomed or anything like that. If that's what you're saying, no, I don't have lights or a scoreboard. No,
Gotcha. Okay.
that would be great, but you've given me an idea. Next time we talk, I will.
The second field of dreams.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
Right.
I'm cutting the corn down right now.
How's your barbecue set up at the farm?
Pretty good. I mean, the good thing about Nashville is you don't have to make it yourself. Like there are great places, Stroud's, and there's I mean, you got Stubbs up in right off Broadway. And have you guys done the deep dive in the Nashville?
We went to Kansas City. We were in Kansas
Right.
City.
Yeah.
Or you need
You
to
have
come to
to.
Nashville. So it's a different thing in Tennessee. I
Mhm.
mean, you got North Carolina, which is this mustard based thing to some degree. In Tennessee, though, it's ketchup based, but it's pulled pork. It's
Mhm.
Hmm.
that stuff, and and yeah, I mean, it's a good place too. So we don't have a baseball team for you to watch. Oh, you know what though? It's worth seeing our minor league team, which is an institution. The Nashville Sounds is a really cool experience, isn't it, David?
Yeah, it's a great park. I when I'm in town, I always walk around the park just because it's got a little guitar part of their signage. They keep it a little musical with their sort of look. It's a
Yeah,
great little park. I can't believe Nashville is not going to have Major League everything soon. And you know,
they will.
I
I think they
assume
will.
with all the hotels they've built in the last 10 years, it seemed like it was a huge push for a Super Bowl. So.
Yeah, I think they will too. Let's talk about, all right, the Dodgers. They win their second World Series. I am such a Shohei Ohtani fan. I love him. How
Yeah,
could you not? Because a player that, I love I don't want to call them oddities, but I love the. There you go. David just held up the water bottle with MVP on it. Yeah, Shohei
A
Ohtani.
holy
oh yeah,
Shohei Ohtani water, yes.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
and I
for
just
sure.
love the fact what he does. I mean, to play it, he's the greatest. And so,
He
what's your
he's also
associate?
class. Is so much class. I mean, look, we're a little biased because you, we watch this team, and when you're a fan of the other team, and that team hits a home run, and they celebrate, and they do the bat flip, and they whatever it is, the showboating, celebrating, and whatever is always, it's annoying for the other team. But from my perspective, and you guys tell me as fans of the other team, Shohei just comes off like he is the classiest,
Hmm.
low key. It's
Yeah,
really rare to see him, do anything other than slowly round the bases,
and
high
smile.
five the
Yeah,
smile, high five the third base coach as he's heading to the home
Hmm.
plate.
And
yeah,
he always acknowledges the umpire, the other team during his first at
Yep.
bat. Very,
Oh,
very
if he
humble.
fouls the ball off somebody, he's like ready to gauze tape their ankle for him.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think.
He is
That's one thing
class.
for a baseball team that's accused of ruining baseball, which Dave Roberts I thought had some real fun with. I think
He
about
did.
like Mookie Betts. I've always said I've never seen any other player like who is greets and is loved and welcomed by every like when he gets on base, if he's passing you, they all say hi, Mookie. And
Freddie too, by the way.
yeah,
Freddie too.
Freddie too. I think truthfully, they're an amazing team. And Shohei, listen, I mean, I'll just say that when he came into the team, there was then that gambling thing with the,
With the interpreter.
interpreter.
Yeah.
And you think, like, how I didn't know if he was a good guy, but the truth is, you can tell a player, you watch a player for a while, you can tell who they
Yeah.
are. And he's a great guy. He's and
No
beloved
one, no
team.
one thought for a second that his interpreter, like I think we're just so jaded as human beings anyway right now that the minute that it was like, and on this phone are 16, or at the time it was like 3 million, $16 million worth of transactions betting on sports. It was like, oh God, I don't think anybody thought that Shohei was totally innocent. And then, like, I remember this conversation with Andrew Friedman and these guys right at the time afterwards. And he said, no one was more shocked than Shohei. Like, it was so crazy to me. That's how trusting he was. He learned a valuable lesson, I think,
Right.
you know, but, he's just immaculate in some way. And he just really is all about being the best baseball player of all time. And not in a weird like obsession with being like better than everyone else. It's more like he just in a pure way wants to be the best baseball player of all time. And there's something so admirable about that.
Yeah. And I think we're witnessing it. I think he is. And history will see that he is the greatest of all time. So now the Dodgers are going for a three-peat. They're not a team without flaws. I mean, I
No,
want
they're
you
not.
guys to talk about it. And what do you think they're going to do? First of all, there's a Japanese player, of course, Jeff. I forget his name, but he's an incredible Japanese player who plays third base, which of course
Yeah.
Max Muncy is your third baseman, but he has 1 year. I think he has an option year, the team option, I think for 10 million. Uh,
Yeah.
you've got a bullpen, but I want you guys to voice your opinion on what is it going to take for the Dodgers to three-peat.
Well, I think, I mean, my opinion is again, I answer this with no authority whatsoever, but David and I religiously watch these games. And there is something about, like, I've had these conversations with Doc too, where I love nothing more than sitting there with Doc. And this is when it's always really fun, is when I'm sitting there and he and I were talking one night and he was like, so something about um, so and so at the bat. And I said, well, against the Reds when he hit that ball up the first base line that they called fair, but it was foul, but yet blah blah blah. He's like, wait, from August? I'm like, yeah. He's like, and he's like, right, and like we remember these things, like we watched that closely. That from our perspective, me and David Wild and a couple of our friends that watch all these, we got to get a little younger, and there's a couple of areas to do that. Um, I think the plan, which looked it looked futile in August and July, especially, where it was like, oh man, this team we put together, everybody's hurt. It's not going to work. I started to have my doubts. And then all of a sudden, here's Snell and Glasnow and Yamamoto and Otani. That's your rotation. And nobody could touch us. And the pieces came into place. Now, the bullpen, I mean, look, I don't think anybody could have predicted with the signings we made that they wouldn't work out. Like, did you guys? It'd be like Diaz just never
Oh,
finding it.
right. I was going to say, just please don't take Diaz away from us.
Well,
No, I don't. I don't think we need to be doing that. I think this offseason, if we learned anything, and David and I have talked about this, go find those kids, those up and coming. Like we need to be investing. We've got Teoscar out there. We've got Edmund. We've got like we need guys that can get them off their feet during the season and plug in and become a Cody Bellinger and become, these, or bring up prospects that we have, that whoever that is that's ready, or trade for that with some of the pieces we have, like some youth in both, outfield and relieving. I don't think we need to dump a ton of money on somebody else that way.
I
Like, you know,
I agree. And what's funny is that there were definitely some of the Kike and Miggy, Miguel Rojas, who I was praying for and like screaming for at different times, and they ended
yeah,
up coming through in amazing ways. But there's also like one of the in all the talk of all the heroics, we were there that game. Will Klein, like, like
Right?
I
that's
liked, and David and I both liked him every time he came in, which was 3 times. Prior to that, I
but
was like, this guy's got it.
That's right. Will Klein is the other one who won the game. I mean, Yamamoto won 3 games, and Will Klein won the fourth game. Yeah.
no one could have predicted
No,
Yeah.
that. That's
no.
an amazing statistic. That
Yes.
No, and they added him to the roster last minute. And he was on there because of, the situation with Bezia, which I guess is heartbreaking. And,
Hmm.
but it's like, I do think that in our case, like the core we have is pretty unreal. Um, and I think that if we need to find those youngsters that are hungry to play with future Hall of Famers, and and then we create a sustainable situation. But I mean, what's interesting is, like, within a Mets sense, like, what do you guys do?
no, Chef, go
Because the
ahead.
team you had on paper,
It's
the
a
team you
laundry
had on
list.
paper should have worked.
Hmm.
And so do you double down and go, it'll work this time, or do you, like, I don't know how much turnover you've got.
Well, there's a lot of free agents. I would have to get Pete Alonso back and sign back Edward Diaz. But then again, it's you gotta get younger pitchers. The pitching core it
Yeah,
just broke down during the year, and we had what 45 pitchers used this year, which is a crazy number of pitchers used. So we got to
that's
get
crazy.
yeah, you got to just get good, durable, younger pitchers, and I think that's
Hmm.
what they hope they're going to do. I mean, we have some good guys coming up from the minors, but you need to also establish guys, and they're talking about trading for Scuba, which I don't think that's going to happen. But they just have to just get better with pitching.
The
He's
Dodgers
pretty
might get
good.
Yeah.
Screwable. Yeah,
We're
that's a
never out of the we're
possibility.
never out of the mix on that. That's for
Right.
sure. But it's also, I do think, though, that I think that with the Conforto, Tanner Scott, and Kirby Yates of it all, that we are going to be a little more leery than normal.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, Tanner, so are you happy? Well, so it wasn't it Tanner Scott that you guys gave like was it a 4-year deal or right?
Yes,
And
he's there. He's still
yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah. So
Now I'm convinced. I'm not. He's not that bad. I don't know what this was. He is just not that bad of a pitcher. He is better than this. So
Right.
maybe a little off season helps in his case. Kirby Yates, I think, was a 1 year, so he's probably going to retire, I bet.
Hmm.
But like, but Conforto, he's free agent now. He was a 1 year, but that was another one that was just like, again, you guys know he's not
Yeah.
that bad.
No,
no,
we
What
know
was that?
ever since he hurt his arm when he swung that one time, it's just he hasn't gotten it back. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, he was such a good player when he was younger. It was just didn't
yeah.
get back.
It is weird how baseball players are essentially bananas,
Hmm.
like in the sense that, like, one day it's this ripe, perfect thing. You go make a cup of coffee, turn around, and it's half brown. You know what I mean? It's turned into this
Well,
unedible
yeah.
fruit.
And I always thought that relievers are fickle. except the elite ones. All these middle relievers, I think they're all fickle. They're good one year, and then who knows what they are the next.
Yeah. Well, we found a few this year. The big question, I think, is whether Roki Sasaki becomes a starter again, or you just make him the greatest closer you could have ever asked for.
Hmm.
I would make him a closer, but I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I would say, won't he have a longer career if he's throwing 2 out of 3 games and not and 1 inning each? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
But
I
I
got a
don't know.
trivia.
What do you
I
guys
got a
think?
tr Oh, Jeff, you answer, and then I got a trivia question for
It,
these
it it
guys.
depends on their how well they can bounce back. I mean, I prefer starters who can go 6, 7, 8, 9 innings. Well, 9 innings not going to happen anymore, but at least 7 or 8. But if they can, their arms can bounce back after day, then they can do pretty well as a reliever. But it's just being that elite reliever. If they're going to be like a middle reliever,
Yeah.
that's fickle. You never know. Unless they're elite. Len, you were going to ask a trivia
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, I got a trivia question. So we're going to see our guest is David Wild and Brad Paisley, and here's a trivia question, and this is furnished by our friend Bill Chuck. Okay, do you know the only Dodger who has played in all 4 World Series games in which you, Brad Paisley, sang the national anthem?
Played in or was on the roster?
Played in.
Played in, came into
Muncie.
every game, was in every game.
Well, it's not Muncie.
Muncie.
No,
It's not Muncie?
no.
No,
Oh, wait, right. 2017, he wasn't. Well, Kershaw didn't play in he didn't pitch the 2017 game,
it's not Kershaw.
and there's very few left. Let me think about this for a second. So I would have said Muncie, but I guess he wasn't there in 2017. Um, mhm.
David, do you know?
Well, see, who played in all those games?
He
He
played in
played,
the game
yes,
that Brad
Was
sang the
Dave
national
every
anthem.
No,
game.
Rojas wasn't there yet,
Will Smith?
and it had to be. It's not Will Smith.
No.
Well, Dave Roberts, but he didn't play.
He didn't
I
play.
mean, he never stole any bases in these. Um, Man, I mean, I'm trying to think here. It
You're
wasn't
gonna
Freddie yet.
you're gonna
It
kick
wasn't.
yourself when I say the name because I
Yeah.
think it's one you're gonna. It's a player you. I think you like this player
Yeah,
because
everybody
yeah,
likes this player.
yeah, everybody likes this player, right? Is right.
Oh, Kike.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Kike. Kike,
Yeah.
Kike.
what the hell?
Yep.
Oh,
Exactly.
that's crazy. By the way, Kike, I have realized, like, my wife had a text chain of Dodgers ladies and I realized all Dodger female fans are in love with Kike. I didn't realize he's the bad boy sex symbol, which yeah, so that's why we're blocking Kike.
He's a fun guy.
Ladies love Kike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That that is the answer. Um, you guys are wonderful to come on with us, and we greatly appreciate it. We don't want to take all your time. Well, we do actually. We got nothing else to do. We got as to quote the movie An Officer and a Gentleman, right? I got nowhere to go.
Right. I
But
do have a, I do have a,
Can I just say one thing, which is when you ask, like, I think I'm going to take 5% credit for helping encourage Brad to love the Dodgers even further just by watching so many games. But the truth is, he is the one who made, like, I had my rock and roll dreams come true of meeting all my heroes. But
right.
baseball, I was just a fan. And until I
Hmm.
met Brad, I went to a lot of Dodgers games. And my wife and I respect this about her. She always said, we're going to try to take our kids to games in every section of Dodger Stadium. So I saw games everywhere. But I will say, because of Brad and the love that Clayton and a lot of people at Dodger Stadium include, and our friend Sharon Hernandez and Joe, like, and now another friend we have, Gary Getzman from Playtone, who has a great suite. I now feel like I've had this secondary, like I had my dreams come true in my 20s about music, and now I'm living out all my baseball dreams. Like this year, I went to the game with Brad for game 3. Game 4, you ended up going back, and I was like, I'm okay. I'll watch that one at home. I didn't think I could deal with it. And I went back and sat in sort of the real seats with my wife for game five. But truly, Brad has made, like, when he sang one of the national anthems, I was on the field and Hank Aaron was walking over, and I said, I
Oh
couldn't
wow,
believe I was
wow.
on the field at a World Series with Hank Aaron. And then we walked up towards the seats, and Sandy Koufax hit me or touched me on my arm and said, "Excuse me, I'm a huge Brad Paisley fan. Can you introduce me to Brad?" And I said, I only wish my dad were alive to see
Right.
Sandy
Wow.
Koufax asking me to introduce him to Brad.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Brad, I got just two more questions, a quick one. First, how's the tour going? I know you're in doing Canada
Good.
right now.
Yeah, it's been great. Canada, they are just the nicest people in the world. I went in a store the other day to get something, and it was like a local distillery, and I walked in, and next thing you know, it's just there's just a warmth to these people.
Hmm.
Just even in spite of everything going on, and I mean they're just so nice. It's just I'm like, wow.
But by the way, you
I'm
did not wear your Dodgers cap in Canada, I hope.
No, now I absolutely exactly like I totally was about to get on the plane and took this off and put on like a Chevy hat.
And,
Like
and,
I'm not going to rub this in at all. I
and,
did realize halfway through the show the other night that the strap that I used for the national anthem last year still has the LA stuck to it. I had an LA patch on it. And I looked down in the middle of the show and I just sort of turned my arm left and I gave it to my tech and I said, take that strap off. It looks like I'm rubbing it in their faces. Take that off. I don't want that to say LA anything right now
Which,
with
by the
these
way,
people.
I became a major Blue Jays fan. I love that team.
That was a
They're
good team this year.
Yeah,
I think they're really cool. And
Yeah.
they are.
yeah, they were very likable too. They weren't snarky.
Yeah.
We all know who the snarky teams are
Right.
in
Yes.
Yeah,
the
we
NFL.
do.
Yes. And Brad and David, when you come to New York, let us know. We'd be glad to take you to City
Yeah,
Field.
absolutely.
I'm in next year. We got to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be
we
up
would love
some,
that.
so
We would love
I
that.
would love it, and we'll go sit in
Yeah,
the sit and just I can't wait to see what that the vibe of that place is.
yeah,
It's
it's
a good
great.
vibe, especially in the evening with the all the lights going on.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
I do have one I'd like to ask because I know that philanthropy is very important to you. And I know that you and your wife have something that a free referral based grocery store. And I would like to, get a little bit of information on that and talk a little bit about that.
You know, it's interesting timing on that too because the SNAP benefits going away right now. We are definitely like we had a meeting today with our staff and every food charity is bracing for impact and ourselves included. What ours is in Nashville. It's called the store. The reason it's called that is that's what a parent would say if they were loading up the kids to go get groceries. They'd say, "Come on, we're going to the store." And the store is a little grocery store in this area of Nashville near my college that's kind of a food desert. And it is a grocery store, like a little corner grocery that feels in every way identical to a place where you would go spend money to buy fruits, vegetables, dry goods, anything. And but the difference is the experience being one of normalcy and the kids in the shopping cart and there's a little mechanical horse in the front of the store and there's the all of the fruits and vegetables and the produce and all these things, but no money changes hands if you qualify for it. If you're a person down in your luck and you are having trouble feeding your family, then you become what we call a client and you get a card, and your card enables you to shop certain amount of times a month, and you come in and fill your basket with the things you need, and it gives the parents a sense of dignity because there's dignity in choice. Like getting a brown bag handout or something that's not necessarily what you wanted. There's not a lot of dignity in that, but it's hard enough to ask for something when you need it. But in this place, the kids feel very normal, and so anyway, it's been a very successful thing ever since it launched in Nashville for us. And but this is it's kind of unprecedented right now because we're seeing it with the people that are donating that usually donate to us, or the corporations that usually give certain amounts. And this year they're stretched. And so yeah, it's interesting to watch what's happening right now. But I also sense that people are really trying to help.
And by the way, it's a charity. It's so moving. I sort of watched, I was up in Santa Barbara when you sort of got inspired or were meeting to sort of plan it, and to see it become what it's
Mhm.
become. It means so much to the people of Nashville. It's such a good cause. I donated to it, and I'm cheap, but I would encourage everyone for the holidays, look into the store, donate. And by the way, if you uh the only other thing I will tell you for Christmas, as a Jew, I don't give a lot of Christmas advice, is Brad has a new record out tomorrow, I think the day we're doing this,
Tomorrow.
called Snow Globe Town. That is the best. It's a Christmas record. I have my list of my top 10, which always had Stevie Wonder sort of at the top.
Hmm.
This is such a great record. It's so moving. There's a song called Counting Down the Days. You'll be hearing it all over, not just radio, but also like every Hallmark movie and all that. It's the most musical, kick-ass, greatest musicians in the world, including Brad on guitar. It's amazing. And I really recommend buy it or stream it and then write a check to the store, because I will be doing that. That's what I'll be
Yeah.
doing.
Absolutely. That's a
Yeah.
great, great
How
advice.
can
Yes.
yeah, that is how can people contribute?
To the store. Our website is thestore.org. And you can just go there, and there should be a way to do it. I mean, I'm sure you can do the little button, and
If I can
and
do it,
and
anyone can do it.
Okay, well, we're
and
going to do it
and
too.
Yes. Yes. And
well, that's
Brad,
so nice of you guys.
I gotta tell you, I love that phrase, dignity of choice, and that's
Yeah.
I'm gonna be using that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Well, it was born from the idea of a woman in Santa Barbara that we know that had started a charity there, and she used to work at soup kitchens where she would see this guy come through every day, and he'd push the peas to the side of his plate, and he'd eat a few things, the potatoes and whatever. And then she just finally one day just went over and said, "Do you not like peas?" And he said, "No." No one was asking. They were just putting the food on his plate. And that's who really got the idea. It was like, oh, these people should be picking out, you know, like they should be picking out what they want if there's a way. And so it is really rewarding to see a family come through, and the kids are in the shopping cart, and they're doing all the things a kid does when they go shopping with their parents, and there's just way less angst from a parent when at least you're not trying to save face at the same time that you're hurting for the funds you need to feed your
Right.
family.
Hmm.
Well, thank you for doing that. David, you
Yeah.
mentioned the Christmas album. I've got to tell you, since I've become kind of a fanboy for your music, Brad, and there is one song I just can't get enough of it. It's When I Get Where I'm Going. You do that with Dolly
Mhm.
Parton, and I
Yeah.
love that song. I absolutely the harmony with you two, and I mean, look, Dolly Parton is unbelievable, and you two
Yeah.
together, that is some song. It's on your greatest hits, and I love it.
Thank you. Thanks. Well,
And
yeah,
and
that one's meaningful to me too.
and then I actually met Brad on stage when he was a new player, joining Dolly Parton on the Grammys his first time. I literally met him on stage at the Grammys the very first time, and with Dolly. And that Dolly, and I'm glad she's still going, and Brad is still. I'm telling you, this Christmas
And
record,
I
yeah.
I didn't like David almost immediately.
Okay. But that my wife felt the same way, so clearly it doesn't.
No,
Well,
we told
Mhm.
David the first time he came on with us. I knew when we heard him on the podcast, actually, although I had heard him with Howard Stern, and I just knew that he was somebody friendly that would just be a nice person to speak with, and he proved that to be true, and you as well,
It
Brad.
really is.
The
Thanks,
two of
guys.
you, uh, you're wonderful to join us. We thank you, and I'm so glad we got to talk baseball. We got to know you. You got to know us. And it's just It's pretty special.
Let's not only go to a Mets game together, or you guys come out here and go to one
Okay.
of these. All right,
Sure.
with us, but next year we'll have to like watch one together. Like we can do this. We'll do the Zoom and watch the Mets play the Dodgers or something.
Okay.
Oh, the
And
Mets.
trash
Oh, you
talk
should,
each other.
There
Brad,
you
you
go.
should, you guys, when Jeff
I
watches a
would look
game,
forward to that.
it's the funniest thing. And sometimes we're recording while the game's on, and
Yeah.
like Jeff will start making faces, and I know, like I don't have to see the score, and I just know right away. Oh, the Mets just lost, or the Mets just blew it, or
Yeah.
the Mets are up. I could just he doesn't have a poker face, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
By the way, one of my best Mets memories against the Dodgers is this. Clayton was hurt 1 year, 2 years ago. He was hurt, so he was on the injured list. So they let him on road trips. Instead of rehabbing on the road, he went back to Dallas. And I played Dallas. So he came to my show during and got to the bus, and we watched the Dodgers Mets on my bus while he was rehabbing. So it's me, Clayton, watching the whole game. And I had to go on stage in the ninth. So I'm going on stage, and I had this bar on stage where people could stand. And he said, well, I can't be out there on the stage while the game's going on. I'll go out there after the game's over, because no one knew he was in Dallas. So I'm playing, and I didn't know who won. And at the time, Vesia was in there pitching when we left. And then Evan Phillips was coming in to relieve the ninth. And as I go to the stage, I'm like, I'm looking at him, and he's standing, and he finally is standing on the side of the stage. And I go over during the show, and I'm like, win or loss. And he's like, what? And I'm like, win or loss. And he's like, win. So I knew we won. But watching a game with him, as he's like talking about, he's like, oh God, he's like, Alonso's going to time this up. He keeps throwing that changeup. He's going to time it up. He's going to time it up. He's like, he throws that one more time, it's out. He's going to hit it out. And watching with a pitcher was unbelievable.
Yeah, I bet.
Especially the greatest pitcher we've ever seen.
He's going to be missed. He's definitely going to be missed. It's so funny because you're talking about like Jeff watching the game and you performing in the game. There was a Friday night where it's services. I was at services at the temple, right? And the service ends, and the rabbi didn't even leave the bima. As he's walking, he announces the Mets score. So
it's great.
I mean, so baseball is, everybody loves baseball. I mean, it's just.
By the way, you can turn people late in life. We get Phil Rosenthal, who Brad wrote the theme song for our podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that song. Yes.
The other night, I think for Game 7, he was doing a gig in Vegas, and he kept delaying it and texting both of us because he didn't want to go on stage. But listen, Phil. Enough about Phil and me and Brad. I think, Brad, you've been in your car and it's getting dark. So
it is.
Yeah, it is. Thank you guys for talking, and it's been a blast. And again, we got a date to watch a game. We're going to do this.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay.
All right, you got it.
You got it.
I can't wait to see the Dodgers play the Mets next year. How about you?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.